Personal story segment tonight, Donald Trump for president. The real estate mogul and TV personality says he's considering a run for the Republican nomination in 2012. Mr. Trump has made millions building and selling real estate. His program, The Celebrity Apprentice, very highly rated. And he is a no-spin guy. Just ask the ladies on The View. But he has not been closely questioned about policy until tonight. Obamacare. Do you believe the federal government has an obligation, a moral obligation, to provide people who can't afford health insurance with health insurance?
I certainly would like to see. I have a big heart. I really do, despite what you may think. And I have a great, big, fat, beautiful heart. And when people are in trouble, I like to help them out. We have a moral obligation to help people. I really believe that. I believe that strongly, and not everybody does.
So there would be Trump care then?
Well, it would be a form of much better. As an example, I have a big company. When I buy health insurance, I can't go across state lines to buy it.
Yeah,
you know
that's
why?
Obvious, right.
Yeah, and I can make a better deal in New Jersey than I can in New York with a better company.
So you'd get
and yet
free
I
competition.
Can't go. Number one, anywhere in the United States has to be a strong company. But we should be able to go out and price it privately. I believe in the private, but I don't want to be stuck with one or two companies in New York. I should be able to go to Wisconsin. I should be able to go to Iowa. If I want to buy health care for my people, as long as it's a strong company, I should be able to bid it out.
All right.
So that would be a big thing right there.
One of the reasons the recession hit us so hard is because weasels on Wall Street ginned up these real estate derivatives. You're a real estate guy. Would you crack down on Wall Street? Would you have more regulations on these people, more rules they have to follow over there?
I would not do that. You're making it so tough for our companies and our Wall Street people, let's use the word nicely, our Wall Street people to compete with the rest of the world, because you have guys in London, guys in Switzerland, guys in Hong Kong that are giving very, very good deals, and they don't have the kind of regulation that we have here.
So
I'm not a big regulation person.
Okay. All right. Now, you have a situation where the unions, all right, are being attacked by some governors because the public service unions, tremendous perks. Okay. You use union labor.
I do.
What do you think about the unions?
I have a great relationship with unions. I understand what's happening, let's say, in Wisconsin. I understand what's happening.
Is Walker right in Wisconsin?
I think that he is maybe right for his state. I think it doesn't necessarily apply to all states. I've had a great relationship over the years with unions. We've had collective bargaining. I've become very wealthy. I've dealt with unions because, as you know, New York is largely unions. You're dealing with them. I have great friends that are in unions and heads of unions. So I haven't had the same difficulty and problem. But I think you have to do what's right for your area. I respect him. He's tough.
Walker,
he's unyielding, yes. He's unyielding, and maybe sometimes too unyielding, and maybe not too unyielding. He wants Wisconsin to come back. He wants to have a great balanced budget. So I understand what he's doing.
All right. Illegal immigration. How are we going to stop that?
Well, you either have a country or you don't. You either have a line and a boundary or you don't. Something has to be done.
What?
Well, you put soldiers on that line.
So you militarize.
Do you have a choice?
No, I don't think so. I've been calling for that for 10 years.
They're coming over, and they're climbing over a fence, and there's nobody within 10 miles, and they walk in.
So you militarize the border, you make it very difficult.
And they're selling drugs all over the place.
Yeah, you stop the narcotics
along with
they're
killing people all over the place, and we're not doing anything about it.
Okay. Now, the 15 million illegal aliens already in the United States. What do you do with them?
I think right now you're going to have to do something, and it's hard to generalize, but you're going to have to look at the individual people, see how they've done, see how productive they've been, see what their references are, and then make a decision.
All right. On a case-by-case, it's going to take a long time and a lot of people.
But you have some great productive people that came.
No doubt.
And then you have some total disasters that probably should be in prison.
Okay. Real quick, social issues, abortion.
Right.
You favor it?
No, as you know, I'm pro-life.
Okay, so you're pro-life on abortion. But would you outlaw abortion?
Well, I'd go a pretty strong step. Something I don't like. I used to not be pro-life. I've become pro-life. I've seen friends that had children that they didn't want, and now they have children and they're the apple of the eye. So I've really changed my views over the years, but I am pro-life. I would really, I'm forming an opinion. I'm forming a very strong opinion, but I'll let you know in about 3 or 4 weeks if I decide to.
All right. Gay marriage. Favor it?
I'm against it.
Why?
I just don't feel good about it. I don't feel right about it. I'm against it. And I take a lot of heat because I come from New York. For New York, it's like, how can you be against gay marriage. But I'm opposed to gay marriage.
They say, the gays, that this violates their rights, that they are American citizens and they should have a right to live the same way heterosexuals live. And you say?
Well, I think it's a tough situation. And I'll tell you what I say. I say that we have other problems. We have other problems in this country. And I don't think a president should be elected on gay marriage or not gay marriage, because we have some very big problems. Based on everything I see, Obama, who said basically the same thing as I do, I think he's going to come out in favor of gay marriage.
Okay,
and
but you remain opposed?
I am opposed, yes.
All right, now we'll have more with Mr. Trump in a moment. We'll pin him down on the tax question. That's pretty interesting. Continuing now with our interview of Donald Trump, who may run for president in the Republican primaries. We begin our second segment with Trump's media exposure. You saw me on The View with the ladies walking out?
Yes, I did.
But they didn't walk out on you when you brought up the birth certificate when they should
didn't.
have. That was worse than what I did. Is there a Muslim problem in the world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't notice Swedish people knocking down the World Trade Center. There
So
certainly
why-
is. And I
why-
came out very strongly against the mosque being built virtually
And
across
so did
the
I.
street.
You and I were
you
on the
and I,
same page. Okay. However, Muslim Americans say, hey, you're picking on us.
No, nobody's picking. The fact is, it was so insensitive when they announced the mosque in that location. Don't forget, that's my territory, Manhattan real estate. When they announced the mosque in that location, I couldn't believe it. You know, you have people, 3,000 people died, and you have all those parents and sisters and brothers and wives, and I mean, just saying, I can't believe it. The World Trade Center came down. My loved one, more than anybody in the world, I love this person, dead, and now they're building a mosque across it?
No, I thought it was the same way.
I think it's very insensitive, and I think
But
it's
you do
inappropriate.
believe overall there is a Muslim problem in the world.
Well, there is a Muslim problem, absolutely. You just have to turn on your television set.
And do you think it encompasses all Muslims?
No, and that's the sad part about life, because you have fabulous Muslims. I know many Muslims, and they're fabulous people. They're smart, they're industrious, they're great. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, there is a Muslim problem in the world. And by the way, and you know it, and I know it, and some people don't like saying it because they think it's not politically correct.
Whoopi
but
and
give me
Joy
a
will
break.
walk off on me. But when I say there's a Muslim problem in the world, I basically say, why don't the good Muslims, that I believe outnumber the bad Muslims probably 8 or 9 to 1,
or more,
why don't they, the Muslim community throughout the world, speak out more forcefully against the jihadists?
Well,
Why?
there's something out there that brings a level of hostility that I've never seen in any religion. I mean, you can say what you want about the Quran, you can say what you want. There's something there. There is tremendous hatred, and tremendous hatred of us. I look at Iraq. I was watching the other day. You know, we've spent all this money and all those lives in Iraq. They hate us. They hate us. They can't get rid of us fast enough.
Now, when you were on The View and they didn't walk out, which they should have, because they walked out on me and they should have stayed, you were way, way worse than I was on that View. You were hammering the birth certificate. Now, we very early on did an investigation about Barack Obama's birth certificate. And what the Factor found out was there were 2 announcements the week he was born in both Honolulu newspapers saying that he was born. Okay? That is impossible. That is impossible to make happen if he had not been born in the hospital. So therefore, I just put it to bed. I said he was born in Honolulu. All right? The 2 newspapers documented it. His mother was a hippie. His father was a guy from Kenya who split. There couldn't have been a sophisticated, what is he, baby Jesus? There was a sophisticated conspiracy to smuggle this baby back into the country. So I just dismissed it. But you made a big deal out of it.
Bill, I grew up with Wall Street geniuses. What they do in terms of fraud and how they change documents. And I'll tell you something, if you notice, those dates were 3 days later. And here's what I ask people. Who puts announcements? Here are 2 poor people, a man and a woman with no money. They have a baby. There's announcements in the newspaper.
The grandparents
Excuse me.
did it.
The grandparents. Nelson Rockefeller doesn't put announcements.
Sure, there are birth
did you ever
announcements
hear?
all the time.
I've never seen one.
Really?
No,
No,
I've never
they're
seen
common.
one. I've never seen one.
But why
if you
is this
look at
important to you?
Because if you are going to be the President of the United States, you have to be born in this country. And there is a doubt as to whether or not he was
Come
born.
on. Do you really feel there's a doubt?
You know, I started off by saying, and I always do, and I did on The View, I'm a very smart guy. I went to the best college. I had good marks. I was a very smart guy, good student, all that stuff, okay? Because what they do to the birthers, which is a term I hate, because a lot of these birthers are just really quality people that just want the truth. What they do to the birthers is unbelievable, to a point where people are afraid to talk about this subject. They're afraid to confront you or anybody about this subject.
Do you think it's
I'm
an
not.
important subject?
Listen, I have a birth certificate. I have my birth certificate. In fact, they said the one I gave yesterday wasn't good enough. So I actually got the one from the health department, which is the perfect one, okay? Because they were saying, oh, the one I gave yesterday wasn't good enough, so I got the other one. People have birth certificates. He doesn't have a birth certificate. Now, he may have one, but there's something on that birth, maybe religion, maybe it says he's a Muslim. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want that, or he may not have one. But I will tell you this. If he wasn't born in this country, it's one of the great scams of all time.
Absolutely, but I don't think that's the case.
You don't, but I'm starting to think.
I don't think you believe that either. I think it's provocative.
2 weeks ago,
you get a lot of attention raising the question, but I don't think you believe it.
2 weeks ago, I felt like probably he was born in the country. Today, it's possibly. I'm telling you, it's changed. I've seen too many things.
Why did Whoopi Goldberg get so angry about you?
I don't know. And then
Didn't you ask her?
Then she said to me, and she likes me. She said, Donald, I love you, but she actually said, if it were a white man. Now, I know they asked for Bush's birth certificate. I know for a fact they asked for John McCain's birth certificate.
So why did she make it racial?
I don't know. She brought race into it. She brings race into it. What can I tell you?
All right, so I misspoke. We're going to have that tax thing tomorrow, and then we're going to go to Libya tomorrow and Afghanistan and all of that with Trump. So we hope you tune in. It gets even more flamboyant. Directly ahead, Karl Rove on whether Trump has a chance. And if not, who does in the Republican side? And then Dennis Miller on the Trump interview, and also Secretaries Clinton and Gates avoiding Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. Miller wants to weigh in on that, and we hope you stay tuned for those reports.